Hello everybody, it's Tyler, and I'm going to be sharing with you when we should be using first-person pronoun I in an essay. I will also be going over how I should be used when we find it necessary to do so. Whether we give credit to a former elementary, junior high, high school, or college professor for teaching us the majority of our writing skills, I think I can say with confidence, and we could all agree, that we were all taught to avoid using the first-person I in our essays. A short article I found that was posted on writingcommons.org, written by Jenna Pack Sheffield, very well answers this simple question. Using first person in an academic essay. When is it okay? She states 4 basic instances to when it is acceptable to use the letter I in our essays, which I will go into greater detail within the next few slides. The first instance is to include a personal anecdote. Secondly, to establish your credibility. Third, to clarify passive instructions, and lastly, to state your position in your relation to others. Personal anecdotes. I know we have all seen or heard the term hook from our former English professors or authors. We must have a hook in order to get our readers engaged in wanting to read more of our essay, which 99.9% of the time happens in the introductory paragraphs. If we were to use a personal anecdote, for example, a personal experience or a story about us, it is pretty much impossible not to use the letter I, or it would be pretty uncomfortable otherwise. Establishing your credibility. Credibility falls heavily on ethos, and ethos is defined as the characteristic spirit of a culture, era, or community as manifested in its beliefs and aspirations. The word character is to be highlighted in that definition. The ancient Greeks used character to establish a sense of trustworthiness and credibility. For instance, we may use the word I to back a statement based on personal experience. An example would be, X states, anybody can work full-time and have the ability to go to online school full-time as well. I would follow that sentence with, I know it can be done because I do it, as do many of you. We have now established our trustworthiness and credibility with our reader because we have the experience. Making sure we are clear. Sheffield continues to write in her article that sometimes when a writer avoids using first person, he or she can often cause confusion by unintentionally creating passive sentences. And this theory is also backed by a study that was done by the University of North Carolina, which states, because trying to avoid the first person can lead to an awkward constructions and vagueness, using the first person can improve your writing style. UNC also provided many examples in their study as when using the first person would make more sense in a sentence and vice versa. Here is just one example. The original text without first person states, in studying American popular culture of the 1980s, the question of to what degree materialism was a major characteristic of the cultural milieu was explored. And then the next sentence, using first person, in our study of American popular culture of the 1980s, we explored the degree to which materialism characterized the cultural milieu. My take from this is that the original sentence made it sound like, in general, the quote-unquote question was a question that maybe the general population has. However, the sentence using the first person makes it known that the question was indeed the question of the group writing the essay, and not the general populations. Stating your opinion. Sometimes we need to state our opinion, especially in an argumentative essay. Within the last chapter we read in They Say, I Say, chapter 4, we read about how to agree, disagree, and agree and disagree simultaneously by inputting our personal opinions. The authors bring up the point about when writers take too long to declare their position relative to views they've summarized or quoted, readers get frustrated and not know how the writer is agreeing or disagreeing. If we are writing a critique or an analytical piece on another's work, readers need to know our stance on the topics at hand. How else will we be able to do that without inputting our opinions and using I? The book has also provided some examples because there is definitely a right and a wrong way to agree and disagree. An example from each section is shown here. To disagree, I think X is mistaken because she overlooks blank. To agree. I agree that blank because my experience blank confirms it. To agree and disagree simultaneously. On the one hand, I agree that blank. On the other hand, I'm not sure if blank. My final thoughts is that using I in an essay, even though I'm aware it is okay, is still something that sits uneasy with me. I was first taught to never, and then I was taught, okay, but not too much. Now the question I am constantly having while I'm writing is, am I using it too much? Therefore, I completely refrain from using it at all. However, after this project, I'd like to explore using it more within my academic writing, and I hope that I was able to give you guys some tips on when and how to use it as well.